Got an Acura MDX 2009 with a customer complaint of if she doesn't drive it every single day, it won't start in the morning after a couple days. So what we're doing is we're looking for a draw. We actually had just replaced the battery for the customer maybe 2 weeks ago. And she said that the problem still happens where the car doesn't want to start in the morning. And we know it's not a defective battery. We even double checked the battery just to make sure it wasn't defective. And it's good. What we ended up finding was a parasitic draw of about 1/3 of an amp, and it actually will fluctuate up to almost 3 amps and then back down to 1/3 of an amp. So right now it's 0.33 amps. Maximum allowable is usually, oh, there it goes, 3 amps. Maximum allowable is usually 0.05 or less. So in this case, it's got a decent draw. First thing we did was basically let the computer go to sleep, so all the computers should be shut off and everything. And then I pulled a fuse that was this number 40 fuse here. 40 fuse, according to the box, is the backup fuse. And I'm sure some of you are saying that this is a pretty common problem. Just replace the hands-free unit. That's what it always is. Well, after doing some research, I've come to find out that it's usually the hands-free relay, but not always. It's there's still possibility of it being something else. So I ended up pulling a wiring diagram and highlighting all the power circuits that fuse feeds. And that's the fuse there. Pull that fuse, draw goes away. Follow it down. I ended up going inside and pulling the number 510 amp fuse, which only powers these things, one of which is the hands-free unit. So take a look at this draw, 0.3 of an amp. This is going to be your way to check it. If you have one of these, you don't even need the meter. What you could just do is, if you know your car dies overnight every night, just come and, sorry, this is one-handed, not going to be easy. Just disconnect this guy here. This little panel out here pulls straight out, and it's just held in with clips, no bolts. Then the module should be bolted right here. You disconnect this connector and let it sit overnight. And if it stops draining the battery overnight, then what you have is a defective hands-free unit, and you know what to replace. If the battery still goes dead overnight with this disconnected, do not replace the hands-free unit. You might even want to consider taking it into a shop for someone to perform an electrical diagnostic. But I mean, that is a very simple way of doing it. And that's something that anyone could do at home with just, a little bit of time. And that's what we found in this case. Let's go back up to the meter and check what the draw is now. Yeah, this not so expensive Craftsman meter sometimes needs to be zeroed a couple times. But yeah, there you go. You lay that down, 0.1, 0.3. All I'm gonna do, come inside here, plug this little module back in. See, plugged in, and that's all I've done. Come back to the meter, and there's your 1/3 of an amp draw. So that, in this case, it was the hands-free unit. I do not recommend just blindly replacing the hands-free unit. I always recommend performing a diagnostic and confirming what the problem is. But in this case, it was a hands-free unit. So if you're having a problem with your Acura dying overnight and don't know what it could be, try disconnecting that module and see if it stops dying overnight. If it does stop dying, that is your problem. If it continues to die, that is not your problem.